the research room during the previous years, but just in case, the research room is a joint meeting between researchers, typically from Europe, and open source developers that attend the FOSDEM. It is organized by our research group in collaboration with the main research projects about open source in Europe. And the program committee is made from professors and researchers coming from universities from Europe, United States and Canada. And all the papers that are going to be presented here and has been presented in previous years are peer reviewed by these researchers. Some of them are submitted by researchers and some of them are submitted by open source developers that are concerned about the research issues and open source. The topic of the room this year is is an initiative that we are launching. It's called Research Friendly. We as researchers need all information coming from the Libresoft projects, from the open source projects, but sometimes we are also bothering those projects. We intend to help the projects doing research, but the truth is that the repositories that we need for research were not intended for research, but for software development and maintenance. So there are some issues like the stress that those projects suffer, because usually research tasks are very intensive for the repositories. There are some other issues like privacy of the developers. So there's going to be an open discussion about all these issues and about 6 today on Saturday. And right after my presentation, Gregorio will talk about the peace initiative. After that presentation, we are going to have a presentation for each one of the projects that are collaborating with the room. There's going to be a presentation about the FOSmetrics, one about Qualos, and Squaws, and another one about Mancosi, as it's missing in the slide. FOSmetrics is a project funded by the Framework Program of the European Commission. It's gathering metrics about open source projects, about thousands of open source projects, and it's trying to make those databases available both for researchers and open source projects in order to facilitate research on open source projects. Qualos is intending to develop a quality model for open source projects in order to make them more attractive for companies. And Squaws is kind of a mixture between FOSmetrics and Qualos, because they intend to develop another quality model and they are also gathering metrics about the open source projects. And Mancosi, I have to admit I don't know that project very well, but as far as I know, it's related to managing complexity in the open source scope. So those are the 4 presentations that we are going to have in the first track. It's going to be 15 minutes for each one. And after that, we're going to have 2 tracks of presentations about the different papers that have been submitted to the room. The first track contains the first 3 papers. The first one is going to talk about the ethics and on research about the open source projects. This one is repeated. The second one is going to be about quality and libre software. It's coming from some of the students of the Master of Free Software that we are organizing with the company Gallia. They have studied some Linux distributions from the average user point of view in order to find out which one is better suited for the average user. On the second track, we are going to have a presentation about the Fosology project that the HP launched some weeks ago. We are going to have another presentation about the academic, that is a proposal of a conference to be held in 2009. And the last presentation is going to be the PhD topic of Martin Kraft, who is a Debian developer, and he's going to talk about his PhD and how it's related to Debian. Right after the presentations of the last track of papers, we're going to have the open discussion session that is going to be on the topics that I have talked in the first slide about the research in Libresoft and what are the benefits that the open source projects can extract from research, but also what are the inconveniences that those projects must suffer because of the research tax. Tomorrow we are starting at 10. It's going to be only a couple of hours. We will have the first hour presentations about these three papers. The first one is about the Forge, that is service-oriented, and it's research coming from INRI and other people in France. So, a Forge is, you must all know, SourceForge, for instance, is a web IDE. So they're going to talk about the new generation of Forge. After that, we are going to have a presentation about the proposal for a legal framework for open source software development. And the last presentation is going to be about security engineering and open source software development. On the second hour tomorrow, we are going to have some demonstrations of the different research projects that are collaborating with the room. We will show a screencast of FOSDEM and how to use the database of FOSDEM in workflow of Taverna. Taverna is applications for research research workflows, and the video is going to show how to use the data of FOSDEM in that tool. After that, we will have a demo of FOSDEMetrics. FOSDEMetrics is running right now, but has gathered already some data. So they're going to show what data is already available and how to use it. And after that, we will probably have a demo of Squash. They have a running platform to gather data and to assess the quality of some open source projects. They're going to make a demo about that. And after that, we will show some mining tools that we have developed to extract the data of repositories of open source projects. And we're going to make just a tiny example of how to use it and what kind of information you can obtain from using those tools. So I think this is the last slide. Yes. So we're going to start now with the presentation about Research Friendly. I want to thank you all for coming to the room this year again. For the speakers, we are going to record all the presentations, and we will upload the presentations, the papers, and all the slides to our website, and it will be everything available there in the next days. So, well, Gregory?
Just before that, just a short note for the speakers, just because of the camera. Please try to stay here, Gregory, if possible. So you can move wherever you want, but if you move somewhere else, we are not going to be in the record.
Okay, so Gregorio is just requesting me to